side, but I guess we also have some Chinese companies attending today, right? I don't know how many are online with us today. Can you tell us? How many companies from China are with us?
20 Chinese participants online.
It's okay. صباح الخير عليكم. احنا النهارده عندنا ندوة خاصة بالصين، ودي الحقيقة ندوة غير تقليدية، يعني شكل مختلف وشكل جديد عن الندوات اللي احنا بنعملها الفترة اللي فاتت. بحب طبعا في البداية ان انا ارحب بالسادة الحضور، واشكر السفارة المصرية القسم الاقتصادي في بكين. بحب أشكر مكتب التمثيل التجاري في مصر وفي بكين، وكمان ضيوفنا والراعي معانا للإيفنت النهاردة China Chamber of International Commerce. الحقيقة أن التجارة مع الصين الفترة اللي فاتت أخذت يعني اتجاهات إيجابية، وصادراتنا زادت للصين، بقى في تعاون اكتر، وبنأمل طبعا يبقى في تعاون مستمر واكبر في مجالات مختلفه. احنا النهارده موضوعاتنا زي ما قلت في الاول بتختلف بعض الشيء. احنا مش هنتكلم عن الميزان التجاري اللي احنا غطينا الموضوع ده، احنا هنتكلم النهارده عن موضوعات تهم المصدرين. من ضمن الموضوعات دي طبعا اللي هي كيفية تسجيل المنتجات في الصين، ده موضوع بيهم كتير جدا من المصدرين المصريين. نمرة 2 بنتكلم على consumer behavior، المستهلك، ذوق المستهلك في الصين. نمرة 3 بنتكلم على قنوات التوزيع بالنسبة للمصدرين، يعني بنتكلم على ازاي اصدر المنتجات، والمنتجات بتروح الصين مين بياخدها، مين اللي بيستلم، مين اللي بيستورد، وازاي بتوصل للمستهلك. بحب ارحب بالكلمه الاولى الاستاذ احمد زكي، السفاره المصريه في بكين. اتفضل حضرتك.
Hello, good morning. My name is Ahmed Zaki, the Commercial Plenipotentiary Minister of the Egyptian Commercial Economic Service at the capital of China, Beijing. Here today, I would like to start by welcoming Mr. Long, the President of the Ccbit Patent and Trademark Office, and also our distinguished presence from the Ccbit different sections, and distinguished presence from the Chinese business sector, especially in the food business sector. It's my great pleasure to receive distinguished guests from China Chamber of International Trade, Food Export Council of Egypt, and businessmen from both countries. First, I would like to take this opportunity to express warm appreciation to China Chamber of International Trade for enabling us to arrange and organize this event. Food processing industry is one of the most dynamic industries in Egypt. The abundant raw materials support greatly rapid development of food processing industry. Nowadays, frozen fruit and vegetables, juices, jam, and honey, olive and pasta are the main export products. In addition, we may add also canned foodstuff and snack. Later, we are expecting the Food Export Council to shed more light on that vital industrial sector in Egypt. Dear friends and colleagues, today we'll focus on information exchange in terms of foodstuff industry. Egyptian businessmen community attaches great importance to the Chinese market. You can see that around 100 Egyptian food companies attend today's meeting, indicating that Egypt is willing to exploit the Chinese market, not only by exporting traditional and high-quality foodstuff to China, but also learning the marketing experience from the Chinese partners. Again, I thank all my friends and colleagues in China and in Egypt for your presence today. Now I shall give the floor to the Food Export Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we have Ms. Zhao Jianying. She's the Deputy Director General of the Department of Bilateral Cooperation in the Chinese Chamber of International Cooperation. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Hamad Fati, Minister Plenipotentiary, Minister Henry Burson, Chairman of FEC, and Mr. Long Zhang, President and Patent Attorney at Ccpit Patent and Trademark Law Office. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurs from both Egypt and China, good morning and good afternoon. It is our pleasure to have this opportunity to meet you all, although online. On behalf of the Department of Bilateral Cooperation of CCYC, I'd like to wish this webinar a success, and we hope that through today's event, we can make some fruitful achievements. Egypt and China are both one of the four ancient civilizations. The two countries have a long friendship, and there have been business exchanges since ancient times. With its geographical location, Egypt has natural advantages and one of the most important countries for the Belt and Road Initiative. In 2014, we had upgraded the diplomatic relations between our two countries to a comprehensive, strategic, and cooperative partnership. We have cooperated in different sectors, mainly in the industry, energy, telegram, infrastructure, agriculture. And today we organize this webinar focusing on the food sector. I think it will be a good initiative to facilitate the communication and cooperation in this food sector. CCYC, that is China Chamber of International Commerce, was established in 1988 with the approval of the Chinese State Council. It is affiliated to Ccpit, the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade. It's the national-wide chamber of commerce comprised of enterprises, groups, and other business organizations that are engaged in international commercial activities in China. CCOIC has adopted a membership system, and its main responsibilities include promoting economic and trade exchanges and cooperation between China and the foreign countries, reflecting the interest appeal of enterprises to international organizations and the government agencies of China and foreign countries on behalf of the Chinese business community. By now, CCYC has a large membership pool of around 270,000 Chinese members, including both the central state-owned enterprises, national financial institutions, a large number of well-known private enterprises, and foreign-funded enterprises. And this including some top state-owned and private companies in the food and agriculture sector. CCYC has become one of the most influential business associations in China. As President Xi Jinping said, China will work.
I'm sorry, Ms. Zhao, the voice is not clear and there is a lot of sound at your end. We have many people cannot hear properly.
It seems to be okay from our side. Now, is it more clear?
Yes, now it's more clear. Thank you.
Maybe I should put it more close to me. Okay. And I just want to repeat, CCYC is now one of the largest trade associations in China. It has a large membership pool, around 270,000 Chinese members, including some top food and agriculture companies. And we hope that we can have more cooperation with FEC in the future. And recently, there is the China International Fair of Trading Services now held in Beijing. And I think agriculture and the food sector is an important area in the services in trade. And in some countries, they have showcased their products in the international fair. We hope that in the future, we can see more food companies from Egypt can showcase their products and services in these international fairs, because the Chinese government encourages the companies to import more products from foreign countries. And today we have the honor to cooperate with the Egyptian embassy here in Beijing to organize this food webinar. And we have invited some experts to share with us the experience of requirements of food market access to China, compliance and legal issues, requirements of trademark registration for imported foodstuff, and taste of Chinese consumers, and also the channel of foodstuff from producer to consumer. We hope that through today's webinar, the Egyptian companies can get more knowledge about the Chinese market and find it more easy access to this large market. We hope that you can fully use today's webinar, and you can also ask questions to our experts and Chinese companies. CCYC will keep on working together with the Egyptian embassy here in Beijing and other related associations, companies, law firms to promote the food cooperation between Egypt and China. And last but not least, I would like to wish today's webinar a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zhao, for the very informative briefing. Well, as a Food Export Council, we are looking forward, of course, to cooperate with you and to increase bilateral trade between the two countries. Well, the Food Export Council, as you might know, we have sent already our profile that we actually have more than 500 Egyptian companies, and they do export almost for $3.5 billion annually. This number is increasing, and we hope to reach 4.5 billion for 2021, especially that our export numbers for the first half year showed an increase of 14%. Well, the main exported products actually to the world and also to China are the frozen vegetables and fruits. I know this is also the trend. As mentioned, we're looking forward to increase the cooperation. Well, Mr. Hani Berzi, our chairman, had to apologize last minute because he got a meeting at the ministry last minute. So he's really apologizing for not being here, but we are recording the session, and he will be listening to it, and he will get back to us. For the last welcome speech is with Mr. Long Shuang Hong, President and Patent Attorney of Ccpit. It's the Patent and Trademark Law Office. The floor is yours, Mr. Long.
Yeah, thank you. Dear distinguished Mr. Ahmed Shaki, Mrs. Zhao Jianying, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be invited to the Egypt Food Export webinar and honored to speak to all the attendants, both online and offline. First of all, I would like to express my thanks and gratitude to the sponsors of the webinar, Embassy of the AR of Egypt, Economic and Commerce Bureau Beijing, Egypt Food Export Council, and the China Chamber of International Commerce. As you know, China attaches great importance to intellectual property protection nowadays. Trademark is the main manifestation of a brand and an important category of intellectual property rights. With the development of economic globalization, trademark is no longer a regional concept. Foreign companies should pay much attention to protection of trademarks before they enter into Chinese market. As one of the full-service leading intellectual property law firms in China with a long history, we have more than 320 patent and trademark attorneys in our firm. Our firm has not only witnessed the development of intellectual property legal system in China, but also made a tremendous contribution to the protection of intellectual property rights in this country. Building on our professional standards and core values, our firm has been the mainstay of China's intellectual property legal service community for more than 6 decades. We are very happy and willing to take the responsibility of introducing the current practice of trademark registration and protection in China to the world. Egypt has been one of the most important trading partners of China in Africa. It's very important to note that we need to register our trademarks in China in order to get sufficient protection and to ensure safe use in the market. During this webinar, my colleague, Mrs. Zhao Lin, will talk about the requirement of trademark registration in China, which I hope will be useful to all of you. Finally, I once again warmly welcome each one of you. I believe that this webinar will be successful and productive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Long. Now we go immediately to our topics of today, and we will start with Mr. Tang Yi. He's talking about the export food products to China, the legal and compliance issues. He is the Deputy Director of the Legal Counsel Division of Ccpit. So the floor is yours, Ms. Tang.
I'm sharing the wiki.
You are a co-host, you can share the screen.
It's an operating plan.
We can see your screen, Ms. Tang.
It's an operation plan. Yeah, it's a pen. The pen operating pen. I don't think we have. Yes. Let me just.
بتاع المايك يا دكتور.
لا ده هو انا ظبطت النويز بس هو اقول لحضرتك يعني مش هتزيد اكتر من كده.
Okay, thank all the organizers for this webinar, and good morning for all the friends in Egypt, and good afternoon for all the friends in China. My name is Tang Yi, and I'm from Ccpit Commercial and Legal Service Center. Our center is one of the earliest organizations which provides legal services for both Chinese and overseas companies. And we have developed a comprehensive scope of services focusing on international trade, inbound and outbound investment. And we may provide legal and compliance service on international trade and investment. And we may also help draft or review contracts or other essential legal documents. And we may provide dispute resolution services, for example, representation in litigation, arbitration, or mediation. We all know that the food and beverage market in China is huge, with population near 1.4 billion, accompanied by improved incomes and lifestyle. China has become an attractive destination for many international food and beverage producers. Okay, I'll speak louder. Despite of enormous opportunities, international food producers and exporters should also be aware that Chinese government has been making strenuous efforts to improve food safety. President Xi Jinping once stressed, improving food safety concerns the health and life of more than 1.3 billion people in China, and we can never be too strict on the issue. Products failing to meet the applicable rules and standards may be returned or destroyed. So it is necessary for producers and exporters interested in entering into the China market to fully comprehend the legal and compliance requirements. So today my presentation will be composed of 3 parts. First, I will briefly introduce the Chinese food safety regulatory regime, and then I will bring to you attention to the most recent updates of requirements for food manufacturers exporting to China, and then I will give some advice. In China, we have a multi-layered regulatory system. There are laws which are developed and amended by the National People's Congress or its standing committee, administrative regulations developed by the State Council in accordance with the Constitution and laws, and department rules, which are developed by departments of the State Council prescribing matters on the implementation of law. I listed some laws and regulations and department rules in my slides to give you a general idea of the legislations. However, this is far from complete. You may see that some of the laws are recently amended just in this year, and some of the rules govern very detailed and specified matters. The governance mode of food safety in China has evolved over the years. The current mode has been formed after the enactment of the 215 amendments to China's food safety law. The National Food Safety Commission of the State Council is for overall guidance, and the State Administration of Market Regulation is for safety supervision. The National Health Committee is for risk monitoring, risk assessment, and safety standards. The General Administration of Customs, specifically the Bureau of Import and Export Food Safety, is for quality supervision, inspection, and quarantine on the safety of import and export food. So this basically is the first part of my presentation. And then I would briefly introduce the updated requirements for importing food products. There are 2 new regulations announced by the GACC in April this year, and both decrees will come into effect on January the 1st, 2022. There are decree number 248 regulations on the registration and administration of overseas producers of imported food, and decree number, sorry, I just missed the number, decree number 249, administrative measures on import and export food safety. So producers and exporters are better get ready before the 2 regulations come into effect. There are various key points to be noted in these 2 regulations. I selected a few and some in comparison with the former provisions in my slide. For decree number 248, you may see that this decree expands the registration scope of food products. Formerly, and these provisions are still currently applicable, but will be replaced by the new provisions next year. Only producers for dairy, meat, bird's nest, honey, and aquatic products are required to register in GACC. But after the new rules come into effect, producers for all food products, except for food additives and food-related products, are required to get registered. And these rules apply to all food manufacturers, processors, and storage facilities. But if you are only an exporter or agent, which is not involved in the production process, you are not required to register. You are only required to file for records with the GACC, which will have not so strict rules. And the new decree also provides new method of registration. The former provisions only prescribe two kinds of means to get registered, to be recommended to the GACC by the competent authorities in the country or region where the producer is located, or by other prescribed means. But the new provisions clarify two methods of registration. For some special types of food producers, registration can only be completed on the recommendation of the exporting country competent authority. And for other products not listed in the special food list, direct registration with GACC is required, either on its own or via a private agent. You may also ask your importer to register for you on behalf of you. And the new decree also introduced innovative method of assessment and censorship. The former provisions only provide on-the-spot inspection and document review. The new provisions added video inspection, which is also often adopted during the COVID-19 pandemic to reduce the risks. And the new decree also extends the validity period of registration, formerly only for 4 years. And the new provisions extend the validity period for 5 years. It's the same with the domestic food production certificate. Other points include some packaging requirements and about supervision responsibilities. For example, a GACC issued registration number or the register number approved by the competent authority of the exporting country must be displayed on both the inner and outer packaging. This is a new requirement. And before, the rules only prescribe the supervisory role for GACC, but the new decree also prescribes that competent authority of the exporting country must supervise the registered producers. And if non-compliance is discovered, relevant food exportation to China shall be immediately suspended. And it requires that the registered producer by itself shall conduct self-compliance. And if it discovers non-compliance with the registration requirements, it shall suspend exportation to China and take corrective measures. And so those are basically the key points of Decree 248. And there are also other key points in other sections of the decree. But due to the time limit, I would like to move on to the other decree announced on the same day and to take effect also next year, January the 1st next year. The decree number 249, the name of which I just shared in my previous slides.
Will you kindly just indicate to the people where what's I know that's the Chinese government, but just
GACC stands for the General Administration of Customs, the
Yes.
Chinese customs. So, so then I will move on to decree number 249, the administrative measures on import and export food safety. 248 prescribe the registration requirements, and this one is a broader one. So some key points of the decree number 249. These new rules introduce the concept of conformity assessment, which covers the evaluation of the foreign food safety management, registration of overseas production facilities, as just introduced, record filing and conformity guarantee by importers and exporters, quarantine and approval of entry animals and plants, etc. JCC may evaluate and review the food safety management system and food safety situation of a foreign country or region and determine the inspection and quarantine requirements based on the results of the evaluation and review. And also this new decree emphasizes that producers and operators are accountable for the safety of the food products they produce and handle. And it also stipulates that potential control measures in response to food-related incidents overseas that may impact food safety in China. And these measures are of particular importance during the COVID-19 pandemic, because incidents were reported, scattered incidents were reported that the virus were transmitted through package of imported goods. So under these provisions, if such kind of situations occur, the authorities will have the JCC will have the authority to take measures, for example, to suspend or to suspend the import from a certain country for a certain period of time. And also, this new decree stipulates that imported fresh and frozen meat and aquatic food products require instructions on both the inner and outer packaging. This is a change to the previous rules. And the sales packages of the imported health food and foods for certain dietary purposes must be equipped with printed Chinese labels instead of only a fixed ones. So this also is a change to the previous rules. So basically, that's all I would like to share about the rules and the legal regimes for food safety laws. And then I will give some small advice on how to export to China and safely export to China. First one is to make timely adjustments in accordance with the new requirements. As we can see, there are some fundamental changes to the registration requirements and filing for records requirements and packaging requirements. And secondly, because your importers and your agents, which are in China, will be a more convenient position to get to know the rules. So please make sure to fully communicate with your importers and agents. And thirdly, carefully draft your contracts or other legally binding documents in accordance with the applicable laws. We know that both Egypt and China are participants to CISG, the Convention on International Sales of Goods. So in most cases, the international convention will apply to the transactions between between companies from Egyptian and China. And also pay attention to the quality clause, dispute resolution clause. Those are very important clauses. And fourthly, if there are disputes arise, especially under these circumstances, we know that the disputes arose in these years. Consult with professionals when you are encountered with disputes. And also, if it is available, conduct credit check on your potential partner to lower your risks. Okay, thank you. This is my last slide, and thank you very much again for your kind attention. I leave my contact information here, so if you have any questions or inquiries, please feel free to contact me. Thanks again.
Thank you very much for this very informative session, Ms. Tang Yi. And of course, it was very important to have this webinar today, especially with the new decrees that you have mentioned the Decree 248 and also novelties in 249. Because as you mentioned, it's expanding to all food products and food-related products. It's expanding to packaging material. And of course, it was very important for us to know about the method of registration and the new inspection methods and so on. The advices you have given in the end are also essential and crucial. And I'm sure we are receiving your presentation in order to share it with our members who are attending now and with other members who could not attend with us today. So actually, we do have some questions. If I may just, because now it's directly related to your part, so if I may just put some two questions, it would be great.
The point here related to the presentation done by our colleague here, Ms. Tang. Later on, will you receive by email 2 files explaining the current process of registration of the food export products by both exporter and importer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, that's excellent. Well, I will take the first question, which is China, are you using the codex? Or do you have your own separate standards?
Oh, yes, actually, it is stipulated by law that only foods that are in compliance with the national standards of China can enter the China market. And if there are no applicable national standard, the food may not have the access to enter to China. So just as I have introduced the National Health Committee, I don't know whether you have paid attention to one of my slides. The National Health Committee is responsible for developing this kind of national food safety standards, and you may suggest to your members to look up these standards.
Okay, that's great, because we have 2 other questions related to certain product groups, mainly herbs and spices, and other products as well. They were asking about the requirements to enter the Chinese market. So can you elaborate on that as well?
For specific products, I'm afraid I need to look up on the internet, because all of the standards are publicized. So I think there are English translation. Maybe you can, because I have left my email address on my last slide. Maybe you can send an email to me, and I will look whether I can find the particular standards for you. Okay.
Okay, that's great. I'm sure you also, as Mr. Ahmed was mentioning, that you will share with us the presentation and the relevant links where companies can look up themselves for certain products. I just take now the last question, and then we'll move on to the second part of the presentation. It's about poultry products. Are they permitted to be exported from Egypt to China? Do you have any information on that? It's also concerning registration and so on. And you have also mentioned some points concerning inner and outer packaging for frozen or fresh meat and poultry. So is there anything you would like to advise to the company?
I don't think there are, I don't think it is forbidden to import poultry products to China, because
you can forbid it. Oh, okay.
Can we shed some light on that?
Okay.
It's not a Chinese decision. The Egypt has not been removed from the.
صوت حضرتك مش واضح يا فندم. صوت حضرتك مش واضح.
عشان الميكروفون بعيد عني، معلش. Can you?
Okay.
This is a very important point, so we
This item for this question, we have been working with our colleague in Paris, because the reason that they are not allowing quality products to be exported from Egypt to China, that we are still listed on the World Health Animal World Health Organization, that we are in the list of the flu, the bird flu disease and food amount. So this is what has to be done by the Ministry of Agriculture, the Central Administration for Vet Affairs, in coordination with our commercial minister in Paris, so they can reach a conclusion with the World Health Animal Organization or World Animal Food Health Organization to remove Egypt from the negative list of the bird flu and foot and mouth disease. After we do that, there will be no problem that China will open its markets willingly and welcome them to the Egyptian producers of that food. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. Of course, this was a very important point to register the poultry frozen products to be exported to China. I think we have the same issue also with the dairy products as well, and we're working on that file at the same time. So thank you very much again, Ms. Tang Yi. And now we move to the next point, which is the requirements of trademark registration for imported foodstuff with Ms. Zhao Ling, Ccpit Patent and Trademark Law Office. And she's also the Deputy Director of International Trademark Department in the Trademark Attorney. So the floor is yours, Ms. Zhao Ling.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good afternoon and good morning to our Egyptian friends. I'm very glad and honored to speak today about trademark registration in China. We are one of the largest IP law specialized law firm in China with a history. So we history of over 6 decades, dated back to 1957. We are the first trademark agency in China, helping foreign companies and individuals to obtain trademark registration. We have been ranked as a leading or top IP law firm by the most influential and renowned professional magazines in the field, such as MIP, Managing Intellectual Property, Chambers, Legal 500, Asia IP, for our patent and trademark prosecution and litigation services. We serve applicants from all industries and from all around the world, ranging from small startup companies to large multinational companies. So we have a very good professional team with more than 60 working years of trademark attorneys and patent litigation team, as well as trademark litigation team. So today we're going to discuss why should we need to register our trademarks in China. First and foremost, it's very important to know that we need to, if we want to get sufficient protection for our trademark in China, we need to have it registered. So here is an example of imported butter from Europe. So you can see that here is the trademark used on these products. And according to relevant regulations for imported food, we need to have Chinese labels here. So we also need to use a Chinese trademark on our label. And according to China trademark law, we can only use registration sign here only with a registered trademark. So the two reasons we need to register our trademarks in China. It is precondition to obtain protection for a trademark in China and to avoid any risk of infringements. The potential risk to use an unregistered trademark in China. According to China law, we can use unregistered trademark on products, but there are many risks. Your trademarks might be hijacked by a competitor, a bad faith trademark applicant, or even a distributor in China. The trademark squatters may record the hijacked trademark with the Chinese customs, and the import and export of the goods will be blocked. The use of your trademark in the markets will might infringe upon the third party's legal rights and cause disputes. The use of trademark might be questioned by a local administration for violating the trademark law or other laws and regulations. So we need to register our trademark in China even before we enter into the markets. Here, I will give you some examples about not registering trademarks before entering markets and the potential risk. The first is Jordan case. We all know about the famous basketball player, Michael Jordan. His name, when used as trademark, as well as the logo here, has very high commercial value. A Chinese company, it registered the Chinese name of Jordan, Qiaodan, as trademark, as well as the company name. Before Jordan realized that his Chinese name had been used as trademark by this company for sports goods, and this company had been very successful in the markets. By the year 2012, it has already 6,000 stores around China and even applied for IPO. Then in the year 2012, Michael Jordan filed cancellations against 38 trademarks of this company. And the litigation goes to finally the Supreme People's Courts. It takes years. And although finally Supreme People's Court supports Michael Jordan's claim for his trademark rights of his Chinese name, because this Chinese name has been known to the Chinese public as the name of Michael Jordan, and the court confirmed that a stable corresponding relationship between the Chinese name as well as English name Michael Jordan has been established, and also the filing of the Chinese name of Michael Jordan by this company was out of bad faith. So they support Michael Jordan's claim for his Chinese name, but not the pinyin, Qiaodan, or the device here. Because the Chinese pinyin does not correspond to Michael Jordan. And for this device, the court says there's no direct evidence proof that this device directly refers to Michael Jordan. So finally, we can also see that this dispute is still faced by Michael Jordan, because this Chinese company has also applied for various kind of Michael Jordan names related trademarks, like his son's name, Jeffrey Jordan, Max Jordan, Little Jordan, something like that, Alex Team. So you can see that Michael Jordan has a lot of trademark dispute ahead. Another case, I want to tell you just about a New Balance case. This is also quite a landmark case, actually. In this case, New Balance, we all know that's a very famous running shoes brand. And when he entered into China, he has already registered English mark New Balance, but not his Chinese trademark. So when he started to sell his shoes online with his Chinese trademark Jin Bailun, and he found that this trademark already registered by a Chinese individual. So this Chinese individual even sued New Balance for trademark infringements. And the courts, Guangdong High Court, finally the second instance court found that guilty is establishment. The infringement was establishment. That means the use of the Chinese trademark by New Balance infringed upon the trademark rights of the Chinese person who registered Xinbailuan. And even very high damages was awarded to the Chinese trademark restaurants. The final award was 5 million RMB. So another case is about the Lundbeck case. It's a European pharmaceutical company, and when it entered in Chinese market, found that a Chinese company in Fujian province had more than 100 trademarks, including the English trademarks, the Chinese pinyin trademark, as well as Chinese character trademarks of Lundbeck in various different classes, and they offered to sell the trademark back to the Lundbeck company. So they initiated trademark invalidation actions, cancellations against all those backface trademark registrations, and it takes almost 10 years till the Supreme People's Court finally concluded the disputes, ruling that all this trademark filed by Quanzhou company was out of backface and should not be registered by it. So although this European company finally prevail in all trademark disputes, it takes years and it's very costly. So what's the requirement procedures to register trademark in China? What do we need to know about registering trademark in China? According to China trademark law, foreign applicants need to appoint a Chinese trademark agents as their representative of trademark applications before the China National Intellectual Property Administration, CNIPA in short. The procedures used now, we can find applications online as well as in paper, but we recommend filing online. It's very efficient. And then the examination takes about 4 months, until the trademark was preliminary approved and published for opposition for another 3 months, and then finally maturing to registration if no opposition was raised. In case the trademark is refused or partially refused due to other price rights or other reasons, we can proceed to the CNIPA for review of refusal, and this procedure takes about 7 months. So the procedure is now very fast. So if everything goes smoothly, it usually takes only about 9 months for one application to mature into registration. So what do we need to do to file a trademark application in China? We need to select our trademarks, and we need to describe our goods and service in standard terms. So for trademarks, we can use letters, characters, devices, or combination of those elements, and we can register. We do recommend that you register Chinese character trademarks. And for foodstuff, we need to designate the goods in standard terms according to our classification of similar goods. According to the NIS agreements, China was part of these agreements about the similarity of goods, and foodstuff fall into 4 major classes, classes 29, class 30, class 31, and class 32. So we also recommend that you consider filing in class 35 for import, export agency service like that, marketing, display of goods on communities, communication media for retail purpose. And also class 43 might be relevant, including services like hotel, restaurants, catering services, etc. So this trademark is one of the trademark we register for our Egyptian clients. And for milk products, fruit drinks, you can see in this trademark it contains English letters with Egyptian letters. And we have also some unconventional trademarks, like this one is combination of colors used for chapters. And this one is a 3-dimensional trademarks used for the famous Dior perfumes bottle. And we have also sound marks in China. So if you have any sound trademark, we can also help you to register here. Any strategies and tips for our Egyptian friends to register trademark in China? Yes, we would like to say that we need to file the trademark often and file fast. So we need to keep in mind that China is a first to file country. So legal problems can be prevented by filing a trademark as soon and extensively as possible, even before there's no short plan to filter on China yet. And we need to choose our goods and services carefully. China adopts a subclass system to determine similarity of goods, and we may leave no room to trademark quotas if we file trademark in all relevant classes to obtain a broad scope of protection. And then we recommend that we create a Chinese trademark, character trademark. The label of imported goods require Chinese descriptions. It's also good for marketing that we adopt Chinese character trademarks because it's easier for Chinese people to recognize and to remember a brand in Chinese characters. Like the famous Ferrari, we have the Ferrari in Chinese. For Starbucks, we have Starbucks in Chinese. Also, we recommend that we think about copyrights. Company logos can be better protected by registering both trademarks and copyright for protection. And also, we recommend that you register your trademarks with customs. So China customs have the power to track what comes into of the country and also what goes out. So when you register your trademarks with the CNIPA, we can register the trademark with Chinese customs for better protection. And then we recommend that you choose your partner locally. It's more costly and takes more turnaround time to involve international law firm. So choose a local law firm as your partner who actually practice the law in mainland China. So I would like to show you two examples of the products imported to China, the food and drinks, and how they register their trademark for food protection. So it is a famous beer Carlsberg, and you can see that they have registered both their English marks in stylized letters, also Chinese marks, also the label here with the English versions. By the appointment to very small, by the appointment to the Danish loyal courts, so also other English descriptions. So for safe use, and also the register outside of the bottle here with the trademark label, the device mark as well as the word here. So, and also for this Danish bottle, so you can see that they have registered a combination mark with the house mark lower pack here, and also the device here. They also register those elements separately for better protection. The device English mark, Chinese mark, as well as the device, the wave band here. So that's how all the trademark are used on the products. And all those important elements can be very well protected. Just for your information, I will give you the cost for filing a trademark application in China for your rough idea how this process would cost. So that's the basic cost for filing application. I will recommend that we file single class applications. So that's the cost here. Official fee, and for filing online, we get 10% discount from the government. So that's all my share of the information about registration of trademark in China. So if you have any question, you can also send me email here. I will give you my email in the first page, the front page of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zhao Ping, for the very informative presentation. And of course, we are very much aware in Egypt with the registration of a trademark, the royalty issues, and thank you for the strategies and tips you have given us concerning the registration of these trademarks in various entities and bodies, and of course the services you are offering as a local partner with a high profile of services. Okay, we do not have questions for this part, but you have your email, and we will share your presentation as well. And I'm sure companies will get directly back to you concerning this part. Thank you very much. Now we move to a very interesting, another very interesting part, which is the taste of Chinese consumers. And this will be presented by Ms. Song Xiaoyoxi, Deputy General Secretary of the China Hospitality Association. The floor is yours, Ms. Song.
Thank you. Distinguished Mr. Zaki, distinguished Director Zhao, all the friends from Egypt and China, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor to attend this webinar, thanks to the invitation from CICC and Economic and Commercial Bureau of Egypt Embassy. I am Song Xiaoqi from China Hospitality Association, or CHA. CHA is a national social organization with over 20,000 members, mainly from accommodation and catering industry and industrial chain-related trade associations. Each year, CHA, through its own brand activities, such as Chinese Food Festival, to bring special ingredients and food across their...
The voice is not very clear. I'm sorry. It is not loud enough. So we cannot really hear you. Do you have also a presentation?
Sorry, I don't have the presentation.
Okay, fine. So just please, the voice, and if you can just speak a bit slower, it would be great. Thank you very much.
Back. Yeah, and the cooperation opportunities from infiltrated domestic and international food enterprises are welcomed, and the quality ingredients can be well promoted through our various forms of activities, such as exhibition, matchmaking activities, cooking competition, and chef promoting activities. Before I discuss the topic of taste changes, I would like to take a few minutes to give a brief introduction of China's catering industry and the accommodation industry as a reference. According to China's Ministry of Commerce, by the end of 2019, there are over 5 million restaurants and 700,000 hotels in China, involving over 30 million employees. In 2019, the income of accommodation and catering industry reaches $775 billion, contributing over 5% of GDP. It has become one of the most active forms of consumption. And as we know, catering and accommodation industry have a high degree of correlation with other industries, so it can drive its upstream and downstream related industries directly, such as agriculture, food processing, and manufacturing in tableware, furniture, and equipment. Giving an example, the cost of food ingredients in China's restaurant generally accounts for 40 to 50% of its turnover, which means that the annual consumption of food ingredients exceeds $300 billion per year. Heavily hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, however, the income of catering and accommodation industry in 2020 was down by 16%. But we have to admit that the pandemic indeed brought new changes to the industry. The home consumption market has accelerated the digitalization and retailing process of catering enterprises, and the industrialization of takeaway food retailing, cooked and half-cooked food also saw varying degrees of expansion. In the first half of this year, catering industry's turnover basically returned to the level of its the same period in 2019, and further showed some characters. Sales of prefabricated and half-cooked food growing rapidly. Snacks and food with strong cultural characteristics attracting more market attention. Industrial chains such as Central Kitchen, Logistics, and Central Breeding is getting strengthened. And after the introduction of the China's catering industry as background, I'd like to share Chinese customers' preference in catering consumption based on some big data analysis of e-commerce platforms. The first, consumption by young generations is upsurging. People born in 1990s and 2000s in China accounts for 25% of total population. They are poised to become the dominant force in the consumer market of China, or even of the world in the next 5 to 10 years. According to data from a major lifestyle service website in China, catering consumption of platform users aged 20 or below registered the highest growth rate of 34% among all ages groups from the year of 2019 to 2020. This trend is even more prominent in some big cities. For example, consumption growth rate of users aged 20 or below in Shanghai increased by 63%, and in Guangzhou by 68%, Shenzhen by 69%, Chengdu by 60%, and Hangzhou by 80%. So the appetite and preferences of our young consumers deserves our close attention. And secondly, consumptions on health food becomes popular. According to a report by a well-known research institute, Ccbit data, among the post-90s, over 50% have problems of hair loss and poor eyesight. Over 40% have obesity and sports ability falling. Over 30% have reduced immune function. So the age of people consuming healthy food is trending younger. Catering consumption of diet food and meal are benefiting immune function, and the gastrointestinal health rises significantly. Thirdly, the three most popular tastes are spicy, umami, and sweet. According to big data analysis, among the 7 tastes of spicy, light, umami, sweet, salty, sour, and bitter, Chinese customers love the taste of spicy, light, and umami most. The top 3 tastes they would like to try are umami, spicy, and light. The taste of spicy have different flavor characteristics, and the aromatic spicy, numbing spicy, and sour spicy are the 3 most widely accepted. As customers are more inclined to light and healthy food, the diet with fresh ingredients and light seasoning is also increasingly favored by people. But please note that different age groups may also differ in preferences of the 3 tastes. Statistics show that over 50% of post-90s, post-95s, and post-00s enjoy spicy compared with pre-90s. Over 40% of pre-90s prefer the taste of umami, which is thought as a healthier taste. Post-weight, post-00s love it most. Before I conclude, I may say that China is a very big country that stretches a vast area, and the people in different regions may have vast differences in taste preferences. Each of the 8 major cuisines in China has its own characteristics, and it's totally necessary for businesses to make a dual market segment analysis. And that's all my sharing. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Wish the webinar very big success. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Song, for the these valuable information. And of course, for us, it would be very, very important to get this information in written. I mean, to get a copy of it, because there were, of course, many, many details concerning the different tastes, even the categorization of spicy and about ingredients. You have also highlighted the fact that 25% of the population are young people, and of course it's a big consumer group, and also they are determining the consumer behavior. And of course it would be great to get more information as well about the different regions and different tastes according to region, and also to analyze the needs. I'm sure you have enough information that you can share with us, especially when it comes to ingredients. What are the trends of ingredients added now? Of course, it goes all into the healthy direction. So of course, it would be great to get to know some more information about this. So thank you so much again. Now we have Mr. Zheng Wei. He's talking about the channel of foodstuff from producer to consumer. Mr. Wei is a Deputy General Manager of Market Department in the FCO Food Import Company Ltd. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Zheng Wei will deliver the speech in Chinese. So I will do the translation.
Sir, you will be talking in Chinese and somebody will translate into English.
So
Yes.
I'm very happy to be English to make it more easy for you. Good afternoon, Mr. Ahmed Zaki, and I'm very Chairman, Mr. Henry Bozier, online. And also we have the Chinese friend, Mr. Long and Madam Zhao. Unfortunately, they are just taking a break. We also have a lot of friends from CCOIC and Ccpit. Good afternoon. And I would like to introduce Madam Sun from ICA. ICA is the very good business friend with COFCO, and also Chairman Wu from Winning Star. Winning Star actually have a very quite strong business network in Africa, especially in West Africa. So I think it's timing this afternoon for them to get more friends in order to do more business in the future. Okay, yes, thank you. Unfortunately, the presentation is in Chinese because we have very short time to prepare this meeting. So actually, Madam Xiao Wu, my assistant, her English skill is so good, but she just made the translation into Chinese. So anyway, we have a good time to share with you some Chinese. So firstly, I would like to give you some numbers about the food import China market. in 2019. 2019, actually, Chinese market was quite big for import food. We see a number of about 90.8 billion US dollars amount of import in 2019. In terms of the different category, we can see the meat products are totally. The meat import to China was about 18.8 billion US dollar, which is amounts to 70% increase compared to previous years. And next by the aquatic products, which was 16 billion US dollars that year, and it was 31 increase of import compared to previous years. Followed by dairy products, which is a very big amount. It's about 11.6 billion US dollars. And the next item is food products, oil, grains, and also liquor and wine, nuts, sugar, coconut, and chocolate, etc. In terms of the import countries of different categories, we see the China market just diversified the import markets in the last few years. Back to 2015, we import 174 countries, different products. By 2019, we already reached 189 import countries. So we can see the Chinese market just diversify the import source of different products in the past years. In terms of countries, New Zealand is the biggest import country, which import amount was 8.1 billion US dollars in 2019, followed by Australia, Thailand, Indonesia, Brazil, America, Canada, France, and Chile, federalization, etc. We'll take a look at the key items, the biggest items for import from into China market. Meat products take the lead of import. The main import countries, the leading import countries were Brazil, Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, Spain, etc. Aquatic products, we see the biggest import country was from the Russia Federation, Ecuador, India, Canada, and Vietnam, etc. Dairy products, the biggest import countries was New Zealand in 2019, followed by the Netherlands, Ireland, Australia, Germany, and France. Food import, the biggest import countries was from Thailand in 2019, followed by Chile, Philippines, Vietnam, New Zealand, Australia, Peru, etc. So we also see a significant increase of import foods from the Chinese zero countries, which was amount to 28.39 billion US dollars by 2019, which accounts for 31% of the total import of China food items. It was 1.35% of increase compared to the previous year. In terms of the countries, we can see Thailand is the biggest import countries in the zero countries because the food and food items was quite strong at the time, followed by Indonesia, Russia Federation, Vietnam, Malaysia, Ukraine, etc. So in terms of the import items of the zero countries, aquatic products was the biggest item, followed by the edible oil, fruits, grains, and nuts, etc. Okay, the next section is about the vision and the profiling of a consumer habit in China for import foods. Generally speaking, we see in China the consumption market, the middle class family are the key buying power for import foods. If we take a look at the character, the profiling of the Chinese consumer to import food 2019, we can see the blue now, which accounts the biggest part, 48.9% of the consumption was from middle higher income families above Chinese yuan 8,000 to 10,000 or above the income per year. We see the different consumers into different parts. We can see the married with children's family. It accounts for 17.4% of total consumption of imports. But still the married without children family also accounts for 10.7% of total buying power to import foods. Okay, this is the areas consumption market of China for import foods. The top 5 cities of for import food consumption, mostly from the eastern part of China. It's also very powerful in buying in China consumer areas. Beijing and Shanghai Tidali, followed by Guangzhou, Tianjin, and Suzhou area. Both of the cities located in the east part of China, which is also very powerful in economy. And also we can see increasing consumption power from the third tier or fourth tier Chinese cities. Normally in the past time, the first tier, the second tier cities were very strong in consumption buying power. But in recent years, we can see the increase of the low tier city, which is a third or fourth tier city. They saw a very strong increase of the buying power for import food. In terms of the top items of import food in China currently, we see the dairy products accounts for 23% of the total buying categories in China, followed by the maternal and infant foods, and the third biggest item was fruits products. So the right part is the products, different dairy products from COFCO. We have our own brand, COFCO brand, Sunside brand, and COFCO Hopper brand also is a joint brand with Germany. This brand, COFCO Sunside, is the COFCO's own brand, but we produce OEM the products in Germany. Okay, this is some examples about the buying power and consumer habits about the import foods from New Zealand, kiwi fruit. We can see for the import food, the consumption power home time every week shows 10%, and twice to some time of week 24%, and weekly buying about 16.6%. So totally for the buying power for import food, they saw a very strong buying power, about 51% every month. So this is the very popular item in Chinese import food market, like the #1 items from kiwi fruit from New Zealand. Kiwi. Okay, the Fuji apple also very popular from South Africa, very popular in China as well. Eastern years, the cherry products enjoy popular sale in China. Most part, especially the first tier and the second tier city in China, which is saw a significant increase of import food in recent years. This is the example of the import liquor and import wine. It shows diversified consumption trend of a different liquor and wine and beer in the market. Basically, we see the basic consumption and import. So it's the number one in China, which saw a very strong increase, about 149% increase in 2018. So let's see the graph, which shows the different latitude of the consumer spending for import food in China. So we see 61.6% of consumer, they pay attention to food safety. And for the quality, high quality, consumers care about quality with percentage 15.7%. And for nutritional, okay, the next part of the biggest element is about branding. The consumers care about branding with a percentage 37.8%. Flavor and tasting about 31.8%. And I think the last part is about pricing, reasonable pricing, about 31.8%. So we can see the Chinese consumer for import food, they are normally very with a very good earning. So they mostly pay attention to quality, to food safety, for nutrition, healthy, and branding, flavor, rather than pricing.
But thing is the price. Very cheap.
Okay, so this is for the consumer selection about origin. Because in China, the local consumer, they normally have an image of different products with a very unique character of import food, different countries. For example, so we talk about the food from Germany. They usually have an image of dairy products, which is very in high quality and food safety, etc.
For wines.
Yeah, for wines, alcohol, and yeah, etc. Vietnam, they are very popular in the foods and quality products. Vietnam. Australia, of course, the meat products, especially beef products, quite popular around the world.
Stereotype.
Yeah, Thailand, fruits, very popular. Also, different processed foods. This is about the study of the consumer habit on selling channels in China. In China, we have very diversified and very interesting selling channel, different import products, import foods. So traditionally, the most important part is about the offline, which we may call distribution channels. In the past time, we have a kind of a supermarket, hypermarket, convenience stores and grocery, etc. But in recent years, the online sales in China getting very popular because we have a very strong on the cell phone, the AI technology, and also the network, very important. So make it possible and make it very important for Chinese consumer. They may spending online. Okay, this is the trend for import food in China. Firstly, Chinese consumer, they are accustomed to the import food, which is getting very important part of the consumption of foods every day. So we have a steadily rising demand for import food in the country. Secondly, about quality. Sorry. Okay. Okay. The second part about the quality, and also we would say the upgrading of food quality, which one of the important part is about freshness. It's about because Chinese consumer, when we do some buying in the supermarket, most of the time first glancing at the producing time. So this is a very special, very unique consumer habit for Chinese consumers. So we care about the freshness of food items. We may the better producing days, the better producing production day. That means fresh and good quality for Chinese consumer.
You mean expiry date of the product?
Production time and also expiry time. Okay, the so far about the new opportunity with the countries, zero countries. Of course, Egypt is one of the most promising countries that do the food items business with China in the future. Also, last part about the image of Chinese young generation, about the consumption habit, the idea on the value, because the new Chinese young generation, they have a very good atmosphere, a very strong country in recent years. They are very proud of the country. So actually, in different kinds of products, they have very strong image of local Chinese local branding and Chinese local quality technology. They are very proud of the country-made items. This is a very interesting trend of the younger generation. Okay, good. So actually for COFCO, we are just beginning doing our Chinese Made for China project in the total country and connected with the outside countries. We made our plan with COFCO Import Made for China project, which is the one of the most important project we are doing since early this year. We also have partnered with ICA. We are doing the same thing together to trying to explore the country, working with the business partner in overseas countries to make a mutual benefit and mutual success in the future. This is the history of the COFCO Import Food. This company belongs to COFCO Group, which was established back to 1918. We have 4 offices in overseas, outside China mainland, COFCO Japan, COFCO UK, COFCO Germany, and office, regional office based in COFCO, Hong Kong. The mission of COFCO Import Food is to bring the safe, healthy, quality, and convenient import food products to Chinese consumers. And our vision is to begin the leading importers and brand operating companies of China import food. This is the which is we define COFCO Made for China program back to the beginning of the year. COFCO, we have a different business sector. For example, we have COFCO Import, Rico and Wine, COFCO Pet Food, COFCO Dairy Food, COFCO Food, COFCO Meat, and COFCO Credit Products, and COFCO Import Medical Oil. These all the products that we are currently doing in Chinese local market. Some of the products are COFCO's own brand. For example, COFCO Sunshine is COFCO's own brand. We also have some co-op brand. For example, we have some co-op brand with the Tunisia. Yes, FAM is a food juicy products. We also have some joint brand with FAM whiskey, which getting very popular in China. Also, with some flour and some different kind of wine dairy products currently. We are also trying to develop more co-op brand and also our own brand products in China. So the business going very fast.
Our friends, do you think there is a chance for Egypt in the sector of juices?
Yes, we are developing more choices of juice business with different countries. Yes, the business just expand. Yeah. So in the future, we are trying to find some business partner with COFCO all over the world. So every time we find a business partner, we will make it COFCO Made for China products, which represent high quality products. We are trying to define and do some R&D with our supplier. So make the products in high quality, suitable for local consumers in terms of quality, packaging, flavor, everything. So this is the actually the standard we call 7C in different latitude of COFCO Made products. For example, we have selected from good origin, the traceability and inspection for the whole processing. Also the freshness, that is what we talk about. We have advantage in R&D and manufacturing processing. Also variety spices for high quality. Also we have accreditation in China, accreditation with our business partner in China as well. So when we choose the products in the future with COFCO Made for China, COFCO Import Made for China, it represents high quality products. Also selling in our outlets and channels in China. This is the list of our business partner in our own brand and co-op brand currently in China. We have different kind of co-op brand in China, different categories. And COFCO also have our own brand in dairy, food, and also sauce and edible oil sector. This is the network, the selling network and channels of cocoa import in China. We basically we have all channel sales covering the whole channels in China for consumer goods in our country. Costco have our own online e-commerce business, which is called costco.com. We also cooperate with the third-party online business partner like Tmall, Jinlong, also Pinduoduo, etc. We also trying to establish our WeChat, also the community group purchasing network in China in the future. Costco seems to be the biggest food companies in China. We are the state-owned companies. We also very strong in the special channels for products in China. For example, we are doing some important business with the government, with the state-owned companies and a lot of state-owned government industry and government network. We also supply products to different kinds of schools, state-owned company, hotel, etc. We're also working with the catering and food processing sector. And of course, the traditional modern outlets, for example, supermarket, hypermarket, convenience stores, etc., our traditional channels for different products. This is some products of liquor, wine, whiskey, etc. we are currently doing in China. Dairy products.
Do olive oil also, Mr.
Hook 的意思是说，要不然我们调整预估是未来12个月的这个金额6000万美元。Hook 的意思是说，要不然我们调整一下预估未来12个月的量，6000万欧元，要不然调整一下之前买家的这个Hook 的意思是说，要不然我们调整一下6000万欧元。
Will there be translation? We cannot hear you.
是我跟他解释一下，现在的，还是我跟他解释。
这位代表，您先把声音关掉，我们现在能听到您说话。
2020年以前是我们
Okay. Okay, this is products for different kind of food juice. We are also developing a very famous. Okay. Sure. Thank you, Cyprus. Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the most important items of Japan made sauce we are working with currently.
我们都已经给用完了，它剩下的鱼肉。
This is wheat flour importing from Japan, which is in quality.
我们给的额度比较高，但是剩下的余额不多。之前的这个额度他们都已经占用了，是这意思吗？
I haven't been controlled.
Yes, Yes, olive oil. Yeah.
I think because Egypt has a good advantage in producing olive oil.
Yes.
So if you can just later on provide us with your requirements, in this case, we can furnish it to the Egyptian companies.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so this is the working patterns we are doing with our customer in overseas countries. COFCO, we purchase and import direct from overseas producing area. We pay attention to food safety, make it high quality for COFCO import made for China with 7C quality system, traceability and food safety, etc. This is about very flexible payment term. We can working with our partner. Okay, so that's all. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Zheng. Thank you so much, and we thank you for that. Of course, COFCO is a well-known company, and for joining and giving us some in-depth information about the company. And of course, we see a lot of potential in cooperating with Egyptian companies. And thank you also for highlighting the importance of the quality and the pricing, and also highlighting the fact that now consumers are not just buying from supermarkets, hypermarkets, but also lots of trends going to online shopping, of course, like everywhere else in the world. We would have some questions, but I think this will need maybe a separate session, but just because we have lots of questions concerning the brand made for China, if you can elaborate more, what are the products mostly needed from COFCO? I mean, Egypt, of course, has lots of varieties of products we can supply, like of course, the juices, the grains and pulses, the frozen fruits and vegetables, and some other products have good market. But can you highlight what are the products mostly needed for the market and for COFCO? And also maybe the made for China, is this then a private label, or do companies produce for COFCO with their own brands? So can you elaborate more on this, please? Because this is the main questions go around these issues.
So first of all, thank you very much for your question. So in replies to your question, I think for the COFCO import made for China, it's also our own brand and COFCO's own logo with the products. If we getting business partner with our supplier. In the future, if we establish the COFCO import made for China, products go up, then for each product, we make a label on the service products to make it image high quality products for Chinese consumers. That means it's quality guarantee from COFCO Group, which is very important for the confidence of the consumers. I think this is very good for both parties to develop business like in this way, because COFCO is the largest food importer and dealer in China. It represents the premier quality for Chinese consumers, because COFCO brand is very important. It's very enjoyed popular in China. So, but also in the same time, we are very cautious about quality food safety. We are selecting our business partner very carefully. So because every time we develop business, we prefer it's sustainable, long-standing business for both parties. So certain time for each business, but we make it a very successful business with our partner.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure, Mr. Zen, that we will get back to you concerning maybe some meetings, virtual meetings with our members from the Food Export Council, where we can go more into details of how to cooperate for the Made for China line and maybe other ways of cooperation. And of course, we would be delighted, of course, if you can come and visit us in Egypt, and we can organize some physical meetings with certain industries, and maybe also for you to visit some manufacturers. Of course, quality in Egypt is very important. We have also strict regulations, and we have also the National Food Safety Authority. They are in charge of all matters concerning food safety, and we follow international and local guidelines. So I'm sure we will get back to you. Well, from our side, there are no more questions, except, well, there is only one question I would like to ask you. Olives, are olives now something popular in China, or is it a trend, or still not a preference? This is a question from one of our members.
Yes, olive oil actually is getting popular in Chinese cuisine because it represents very healthy kind of cooking style in China.
Yeah, not the oil, the olives themselves.
Olive.
زيتون، لو حضرتك تقول له بس زيتون.
بنقول له هو في حد بيترجم له.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. We need to check because currently we only import olive oil.
All right.
Not olive.
Okay. Fine. From our side, there are no other questions. أستاذ أحمد زكي، حضرتك عندك أي تعليقات أو do you have any comments, and or would you like to highlight any points before we close the session?
Then within 2 or 3 days, you will receive a translated version from the valuable presentation made by our friend a few minutes ago. This is palatable. Secondly, you receive by email market report regarding the natural herbs that you are asking about, and the list of the porters working in this field. Third, from what I have seen discussed with Mr. Thing here, that I think there is a good opportunity for two sectors to do business with his team company, the olive oils and the juice, I think. And we will keep in good touch with him. Just if he wishes to add more sectors, of course, he will be first to learn. So in order to conclude this session, I think if there is no further questions by the team companies, I wish to thank you all for attending today, and our office are always there to receive your inquiries and help you more and more to get in touch with the Chinese counterpart. Thank you very much indeed, and we'll have our contact details on the screen in a few minutes.
Thank you very much for everybody. And just to add some novelty, we are planning as a Food Export Council actually a trade mission to China. It's on our plan. So I'm sure we will coordinate this with the office in Beijing and with all other colleagues. So thank you everybody. Thank you the attendees. Thank you for everybody who contributed and our sponsors. And have a good day.
Thank you very much. You will have now in the screen our information, so you will share it with all companies attending the session. Thank you very much and have a good day.